Welcome to the Market Mystics podcast. I'm Joshua.
I'm Kim. Let's dive in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final Market Mystics episode for season 3. Pause for dramatic effect.
Right. We made it, you guys.
We
made
made
it through a third season. Who would have ever thought? Funnily enough, when we started this, I don't know that either of us could have seen this far into doing this show. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely not seen this far. And if I did see this far, it did not look like it does now.
What do you
I
think you
think,
thought it was going to look like?
well, I mean, we've talked about how we started exclusively talking about cryptocurrency and occasionally talking about our faith and beliefs. And now we like 99% of the time talk about our faith and beliefs and 1% of the time talk about cryptocurrency. So that's a huge difference. So I probably would have just thought it was continuing down that path.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, this is our 100th episode of season 3. If you're just listening, we try to do 100 episodes for every season. So we will take a few weeks break because we didn't miss a single week. We didn't miss a posting. We post every Monday and Thursday. And so, yeah, we're going to take a couple weeks break and kind of regroup and get some direction for season 4. But it's 100 episodes, you guys.
It's 100 episodes. That's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. Well done, Joshua. Do you want to talk about some of the fun little stats that we got about it? I thought these were fun, and I hope the listeners will think these are fun.
They're fun for us to see. Something that we shifted in 2023 was we started bringing on way more guests than we had before. And in 2024, we continued that, some, not as many, but we had 11 different guests, 12 episodes with guests, because Dr. Craig Farney came twice. But that's really cool. Like there's like really cool names, like Chris Blackaby came this year, Arun Bolchadani, Deanne K, Francois Botha, Mike Massey, Amy Melrose, Casey Witters, Gil Hodges, Jeff Demansky, and Dr. Farney. Like those are like really cool people who we like really enjoy and talk to. That's fun.
That's true. You know what else we were able to do a lot more this season than any other season is connect to listeners we didn't know before.
That's true. Yeah, we did that. And some of you listeners probably don't even know that this is a thing. But we had a couple listeners who just asked if they could have a Zoom call with us, and we just hung out with them.
Like, okay.
So
of course,
we got to know a couple listeners. We've had some really great emails. We've had some amazing comments. If you are on YouTube and you ever check out the comments, you will see Walking in Divine Health comment on almost every video. And she writes the most thoughtful, the best comments that I've ever seen. And we're so grateful for her. Also, she has a YouTube channel, so you should click on her name if you're on YouTube, and you should go give her a follow and check out some of her content because it's pretty amazing too. Some really great thoughts on light, and she's done like a little series on light. So you should definitely go check that out. But yeah, connecting with our listeners is such a fun piece of this that we've gotten to do this year that we really haven't done before.
Yeah. It's like the best. The best. Yeah. What else has been a highlight of this year, Josh?
Well, I think this part is cool. We started doing some bonus content this year. And doing that through YouTube memberships. So to see that, you have to be a YouTube member. It's a $1.99 a month. And it just helps us keep this going. And um that we've like put some videos back there. I should have gone and looked to see how many videos we had for members. Um, but we don't do it constantly, but we try to do it every time we have a guest. So many of the guests who we've had, there is bonus content with their episodes. I think on all but one of our guests, we did that. And so that's really cool to see that. We did something called the load sharing group for uh, a portion, probably half of the year, maybe more than half
Yeah,
of the
maybe
year.
like 9 months or so.
Yeah. And that was a lot of fun to that had a couple other people who would occasionally pop in and chat with us. And so
Hmm.
that was cool to have that in there. But I think that's really fun because we had at the peak 14 members. And I think it's really cool that there's 14 people who are like, yeah, I'll make a trade into your channel and check out some bonus content. Like that's like constantly mind blowing to me. Just the fact that we've got some like such great people.
Agreed. Agreed. One of my favorite things to look at throughout, well, after we've wrapped a season is how many countries
Mm.
um we've kind of hit or have been viewed in. I know you grabbed that number. What was it?
Yeah. So for YouTube, we were in 13 different countries. And then Spotify, which is also, it hosts all of our audio. So we were in um, 30 different countries on Spotify, which
That's wild to
that's
me.
pretty amazing.
I
30
know
30 countries, like that's quite a bit.
for sure. And there are some countries that we know weren't even listed. Um, because we know that some of these platforms are banned in those countries, but we've gotten messages from people in those
Yeah,
countries.
that's true.
So
I
that's cool too.
however they found it, that's incredible, and go them.
Oh, right.
This is something else I think is fun. And I know we talked about this before because I remember the comment. Um, but on audio platforms, 150 people, we were in their top 10 favorite podcasts. 90 people, we were in their top five favorite podcast. And 20 people, we were their number one podcast. And that is so
That's so
cool to think
cool.
about. Like, that's
Yeah.
such a fun thing. We're so grateful for all of you guys. um, just thank you for journeying with us. And now, like, I don't know if Spotify people know this, but you can leave comments on Spotify now. Um, and we
That's
also
true.
are video on Spotify now. That's a new thing that happened partway through this year.
Hmm.
So that's pretty cool to see that. And we're in the top 20% of video podcasts on Spotify. So it's pretty fun to just see
That's wild.
like you were saying, where did I think we would be when we started this? Like
Not
I didn't
there.
not there. That's
Right.
pretty fun.
Oh, that's funny. Um, do you have any other stats you want to go over? I have a couple of questions for you.
No, I think that pretty much nails it. Oh, hold on. There's one more stat that I want to bring up.
Okay.
On YouTube, 80% of you who listen to us are not subscribed. What are you doing? It's just click the little button. Just subscribe. It's free. There, Kim's popping it up on the screen. That's
There it
great.
is.
No, I'm not. You don't really have to subscribe, but I just think that that's a really like that's also fun to me because like we're talking about like the people who are in the community who listen, but there's also a lot of people who listen that aren't, and that's really cool to see as well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so moving on to more like recap of our journey for this year.
Mm.
Um, I want to know what's been your most impactful thing the Lord's taught you this year.
Well, I think this is actually a really big thing. I was gonna say I don't know if I have an exact answer, but I do have an exact answer. Um, if you listened to the episode before this, which I recommend people listen to, uh, we talk about money mindsets with Dr. Craig. And if you're a member, you get to see Dr. Craig muscle testing us to find out what our bodies think we are worth. And we do that muscle testing before the recording as well as after the recording. And I'm not going to give any specific numbers, but it was really fun to see the difference between what our bodies believed just after having a conversation about it.
Mhm.
But that I would say that like money mindset is the biggest thing that I've been working on this year. Um, and it was really cool to like have that conversation and think through like, okay, where was I a year ago? Um, Honestly, in a totally different place. Like living in the same house, but with a different job, with a different car, and with a different like investment strategy and with a different mindset on money, just in general. And so I think that that's a uh, pretty interesting thing that has really shifted this year. And we've talked on and on about perspective and about money and just our beliefs. But it was fun to see that. It was fun to do the muscle testing and actually see some of that journey show itself.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool. Really cool.
Mm. What
What
about you?
about I think the most impactful thing the Lord, I guess, was revealing this year for me had to do with um what was at the core of his essence.
Mm.
And it started from a conversation that we were having about, there's no way to know the wholeness of him because
Mm.
he's eternal and everything that's written says you'll never know all of everything, right? And so then I really started asking, if I can't know everything, if I can't know the whole, can I know the core? Like, can I get down to the simplest, most essential part of who he is? And he really started revealing that. And that was really cool to explore with him. And then he took that and really relayed it into creation and why we're made to create with him. And it was just so good. So good. I'm still
Yeah.
on that journey. Like I haven't landed all of this, but it's really been cool to learn um his perspective, I guess, on humanity
Mm.
and why he did some of the things he did, why creation is such an important piece of who he is, and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's not directly podcast related, but I'm curious what your favorite book you read in 2024 was.
Shoot. I am not a huge nonfiction reader, so you're just going to get a very real,
Yeah,
like, non-Christian answer.
that's fine.
It was by Rebecca Yarros, and I think it was called The Last Letter or something like that. And if you watch the episode we just did before this, um, I'm not someone who I don't thrive in living like feelings forward, emotions
Mm,
forward. Yes, I know they're there, but I don't do well with them.
yeah.
I know what that says about me, but I'm just being honest. But a lot of times books or movies will make me like cry a lot. And so this book, like the whole thing was so moving and made me cry a ton, and it was so good.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
Hmm. What about you?
Um,
It's
I
going to be
have
profound, isn't it?
no, I was gonna say I've been reading a nonfiction series called Red Rising, which is about an inner
Nonfiction?
I'm sorry, a fiction series. It's a
Okay.
fiction series.
Okay.
Sorry. Um, and it is a there's like 5 or 6 books in the series, and it's about interplanetary. Basically, the whole solar system is inhabited, and it's power struggle and war and class things, and it's a very interesting book. It's very thought provoking. It's fun to think about interplanetary
Mhm.
life and just some of the ways they deal with it, um, like the planets that weren't traditionally habitable. They created machines that helped terraform the atmosphere and the land into something that was habitable, and I'm like, that's fun to think about.
Hmm.
uh so I really enjoyed that book. um it was a lot of fun. I like keep track of the books that I've read, and I wanted to do more this year than I did last year, and I didn't quite make it. But I got 29 books this year, which I feel like is
You did?
pretty decent.
I want to look at mine. Let me pull out my phone. Um, I'm on Goodreads. Is that where you're looking to? On Goodreads?
Yes.
And I think I got most of them tracked this year. Let's see. Um, I've only done 12 this year. I think I've missed a few, putting a few in. I also only started in like maybe August or September tracking
Well,
stuff.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
I go
that's
in
great.
I go in waves of where I want to read all the time, and
Yeah.
then I just put it down for a little while.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a fun fact about your favorite books, like your book series. You recommended this at a game night that we had,
Yeah.
and so it was on my like want to read list. And when we drove to Florida in October, I put that and Ready Player One on the like possible audiobooks to be listening to for the trip because it was a
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
And we did not listen to that one, but it was like it was up there. So I
That's
still haven't
fun.
read it, but we did listen to Ready Player One, and it was so good.
Yeah, it's
It's
an incredible book and a great movie.
Jason loves the movie, and so that's why I put it on the list. And so of course he wanted to do that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought
It's
the book
fantastic.
was like way better than the movie. And I didn't dislike the movie, but
Yeah.
it was so good.
Yeah, it's a great one. I
Mhm.
I'm curious what 2025 will be like for books for me, because like it's Christmas time, or we just passed Christmas, and I asked for several books for Christmas and I got
Did
them.
you?
And so like and I already had books that I haven't read, and I'm like, man, where do I start? Cuz like I've been thinking a lot about money mindsets. So I got some books about money mindsets, and like then there's some spiritual books, and then there's some fiction books, and um like I got the last book of the Red Rising series, so I'm curious how that ends. And um like there's just a handful of like different genres, and I'm like, gosh, I don't have time to read all of these, so I'm curious how it's going to go.
That's fun. I've actually started making sure that I'm reading something nonfiction every day. Um, and I feel like that's changing a little perspective for me. So I'd be curious to know how that goes for you too. What are you currently reading?
Currently I'm reading the next to last book of the Red Rising series, and I'm currently audiobooking a book called The Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown, which is a book about defining emotions. It's a really fun book. I actually highly recommend it if you're interested in learning about emotions and the heart and stuff. So
So
it
I would
just,
like it. I wouldn't like it.
I think you would enjoy it. I mean, basically, the premise is we don't use specific enough words to describe emotions, and therefore we often struggle with them,
Yeah,
struggle with letting them process because we're not actually defining the way we feel.
sure.
So,
I wouldn't be surprised if I liked it because I tend to like Brene Brown.
yeah, she's a pretty incredible writer, speaker, teacher.
Yeah. I'm currently reading The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. It's pretty great. It's about
Nice.
finding like your God-given destiny and dream and stuff.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
have
I was
another
just,
question for you.
yeah, you go for,
I'm sorry. I had a
no,
list, Josh.
yeah. Okay, let's hear it.
What's the most surprising thing the Lord's done with you this year?
Um, I would say, so if you follow our show, you probably know that in early October I was in a car accident. Um, and that led to me getting a different car. Um, and that was really surprising to me because that directly tied into money mindset stuff. And so I thought like the car that I had was almost 20 years old. Um, and I kind of thought like it would be my car for the next quite a while because I couldn't imagine paying for a newer car.
Mhm.
Uh, and then the option of keeping it was taken away. And so I had to like really face some challenging money mindset stuff. So like I think that ties into like my answer earlier with money mindset stuff, but that was like a something that was not expected. That kind of forced me to step into some money mindset stuff, into some higher money mindset stuffs.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Mine has been maybe twofold. One was not like the most enjoyable thing, but for the last, let me think, I think it was 2018 when I started with like pretty regular ministry trips and community in South Africa. And we've been going, I mean, even just for the last 3 years, Josh, 3.5 years, almost 4 years, we've been
Mm-hmm.
going every 6 months or so ish.
Pretty
And
close.
it's been over a year since we've gone. And I didn't have any leading all through the year, like that was like, yeah, go. I mean, and we're actively involved in projects there, like it's not like our community isn't there. Like we have people
Mm-hmm.
there. So that was really surprising to me because I didn't see that. I didn't foresee it coming to an end or like halting for a while, but it just
Mm-hmm.
has. Um, but then the other thing has been kind of the, I don't know if it's a release or what, like the shift in my mindset about um working a corporate job again. I
Mm.
don't know that
Yeah.
I'm going to, but whatever the stigma and like that heavy, not great feeling that I had about it,
Yeah.
that really burned me out before, um, it feels like that stigma's gone. And now all of a sudden, all of these doors are open, and it's just like your decision. Like, what are you going to decide to do? Any of these can be life giving. You just have to be, I mean, I just have to be being who I'm supposed to be. But that was surprising, like having that door opened again.
That's such a yeah, I that's a big one. Like I think that's substantial.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's I think it's interesting that like I mean, like you said, whether or not you transition into a corporate thing again or not doesn't really matter because even just considering it showed a shift in
Right.
the mindset.
Completely different. And again, that stigma's gone. That's what's strange. Like it's just, I don't know. It wasn't impure, but it feels like it's been purified. Like it doesn't hold the same things that it did before.
Hmm. Yeah, that's yeah, that's great. All right, what's your next thing on your list?
That was my last one. My
That was your
list was
last
too
one?
long.
That's funny. Too long.
It's
That's
too
great.
long.
That's amazing. Um, I know we haven't really like set and talked about it, but what is your like, do you have anything you're looking forward to in 2025 personally or podcast related?
Personally, very related to what I was just talking about. I'm really looking forward to seeing what door I really get led to walk through.
Mm,
Um, and what it has for me. I feel like there's a shift that's already been happening, and I'm excited to see how it unfurls, I suppose.
yeah.
Reveals itself, gets laid out, all of those things. What about you?
I would honestly say very similar. Like, I think that I'm curious to see how the mindsets that have already changed, how that will continue to change and morph and grow as the year progresses.
Yeah, yeah. Now, regarding the podcast, what do you think?
That is a great question too. Um, I'm really curious to see what'll happen. I mean, I know to at least some extent it's up to us to make it happen. Uh, and we haven't really spent a lot of time dreaming about the next season yet. So, we just got past Christmas and New Year's, and we're going to take a couple weeks off, and that's one of the things we're going to do is spend a little bit of time planning what season 4 is will be like. Um,
Yeah.
I think a continuation of really fun guests, a
Hmm.
continuation of connecting with listeners, and a continuation with growing. But
Yeah.
exactly how that'll look, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I know one thing that we've talked about. This is not a surprise to you, Josh. Don't worry, guys. This isn't a surprise to Josh. Is and this is something that's just come up really recently. Like, what is leadership?
Hmm.
Um, I think it's such an individual thing, and it's interesting because it seems like everyone and their dog has written a book on leadership, has done a podcast on leadership. And I'm not wanting to like teach on leadership. I want
Right.
to dig in and like, what is leadership? Is it what we've all been told or is it something different? Um, and in that, I'm hoping to talk to some of our former guests and get perspectives from across the board. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. just personally, because it's something I've been wrestling with.
Yeah, I think that will be it's a great place to start. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, I think I'm excited about the next season. I just don't know quite why I'm excited yet. I don't
That's
know if that
fair.
makes sense. I have anticipation.
Yeah, same,
Yeah,
but good anticipation, right?
right, right.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thanks everybody for being with us today and through season 3.
Yeah.
It really has been life-giving and joyful for us. I don't know if you remember, I started relearning how to have fun.
This is
Josh
true.
got a new puppy.
I got a new puppy.
Yeah, you've kind of been along with us for a lot of our lives and heard a lot about what we're dealing with and what we're doing. And I'm just grateful that people are willing to go along on a journey with us.
Yeah, same. Also, before we wrap up, um, I got to give a shout out to one of our biggest listeners. Happy birthday, Dad. Uh,
Oh,
I hope you have a great day. And if you're listening to this, anyone listening to this, you should go put Happy Birthday, Joe in the comments because it's my dad's birthday.
happy birthday, Joe. I was going to not say his name because I didn't know if you'd want me to, but you said it. So I'm
I
saying
did
it.
say it. I did say it. Yeah, that's great.
Love it. Okay. Well, we will see you next season.
See you guys.
Hey, thanks for listening. Keep up with us along this journey by liking, subscribing, and becoming a member through YouTube.
Members get exclusive access to bonus content with our guests, deeper dives into topics, and a look into other projects. We're glad to have you here. See you next time.